Sam, it's in your best interest to defend your property. So that's what people would do.
That's what I'm doing. And my court says that you are in my house.
Property. You don't live there.
Yeah, I do. Prove it. My court says that I proved it.
I have tons of evidence. Again,
I have tons of evidence. I have tons of evidence. My court says
you don't.
it's my house.
Again.
Look, I've got it. I've got it right here. Bill of sale from my court. Get out of my house. Get out of my house. Get out of my house.
It's not your house.
It is my house. My court says it is.
Again, the biggest utility.
My court says it is.
The biggest utility companies in this.
My court says it is my house, and you have no response for that. Just because your court says it's your house. I live there. I have proof that I live there. I have a court document that.
So Sam Seder did a debate with as we can see here, libertarian anarcho-capitalist. So this goes on for about 50 minutes, and he doesn't go super into detail about his exact ideology, because there's so many questions when someone is an anarchist. I mean, they say anarcho-capitalist, but he's an anarchist. So the guy who's calling in wants there to be no government, and he's trying to explain to Sam Seder how exactly this would work. This goes poorly, of course, because, I mean, there's so many questions to ask when someone says they're an anarchist. Okay, and this is what Sam's talking about, the court system. How do the courts work? How does the police work? How does the military work? Those would be like the three basic ones, and then you can get into like property rights, taxation. I mean, because the anarchists say that they want no taxation, but how exactly would that work? How would you have a private police force? Like, what if you don't... And the way he explains it is he explains it as it would work like insurance does. The problem is, well, what if you don't pay your police dues? You pay $100 a month to have police protection? Okay. Well, what if I don't pay that? What happens? People could just rob and shoot me? Does that make any sense? So they get into a debate here, and I think this is pretty funny, where Sam Seder is making a fake scenario, though he takes it very seriously here. It's kind of funny. A fake scenario where this guy who's calling has a house, and then Sam Seder claims that the house is his. And so he's trying to make the anarchist explain, okay, well, if you have a house, but there's no government, how do you claim that this is your house? And it seems like he's trying to lead him down the road where he kind of admits that you would need a court system to adjudicate this, but the caller doesn't really want to accept this, so they just keep going back and forth with their dueling court systems. Sam Seder has his own court system under anarcho-capitalism, and the anarchist has his own court system, and they have to adjudicate this. So let's see how it goes. Who owns the house? Sam Seder says it's his house. The anarchist says it's his house, because the anarchist says, I've been living at this house.
It says it's my house.
Yeah, but no one trusts that court.
Yes,
again.
it does.
Small
Yes,
court,
I do.
No one uses that court.
Who in this office trusts my court?
I do.
Everybody trusts their hands.
I trust the court.
Okay, so then you don't believe in the non-aggression principle.
No,
so again,
I do.
We're not
I
living
do.
in
You don't believe in it. You don't believe.
How can you say you believe in non-aggression if you're just going to steal my house? That doesn't make sense.
No, you're stealing my house.
Hey, you don't believe in the non-aggression principle.
You're stealing.
I mean, in reality, who actually lives in the house? In reality,
I do.
Who actually lives there?
I do.
Okay, so then it's your house.
Okay.
Well, I don't bother you then. It's your house.
That's
if you
what I've
live
been
there,
saying.
It's your house.
I just have your house.
You're saying
I just got your house.
No, you said I
Good
live
luck,
there, and then you
buddy.
came in with a gun.
Sorry.
Can I just jump in here?
You know what? Hold on for a second.
Okay.
I'm feeling generous. I'm gonna rent you a part of my backyard in your tent. How much money you got?
I mean, this doesn't make sense. You said that I live in a house,
What?
and you come point a gun at me and say it's yours.
Hold on.
decided.
You're in the minority now, buddy. You're in the minority. How much money you got?
Well, then that's not anarchy. So I guess
How
we're
much
not in
money
anarchy.
do?
So the reason this caller really struggles with this, and like I said, they could get into a lot more things in this, but obviously Sam's trying to be entertaining, and I'm not on Sam Seder's side as far as being a progressive, but I mean, I guess the choice between Sam Seder's, the way he wants to run the government, and anarcho-capitalism, sure, Sam Seder, I'll choose your philosophy. At least you have a court system. But what the anarchists kind of seemingly can't admit is they keep using this term, the non-aggression principle, but Sam Seder's kind of demonstrating this. Well, if everyone nobody steals or rapes or kills, then yeah, sure, you just not really have court systems. But what happens when someone does? And so he's struggling to kind of figure out who's adjudicating this stuff. And it seems like he's leading them down the road where he wants to get them to admit that actually the thing that he's advocating for not only is impossible, but what this caller actually wants is similar to a system we have right now, where you ask him about the court system, and he goes, yeah, okay, I guess there'd be one court system that I'd have to adjudicate it. You can't have like a Sharia law court system, and then also like a Jewish court system, and a Christian nationalist court system. If you're all living in the same area, you have to kind of agree on one court system that's going to adjudicate, in this case, property rights. But I think he's trying to lead him down the road of admitting, yeah, you need a police force, which will be paid with taxation. You cannot call it taxes. You can call it something else, but it's going to be paid with taxation. And you need a court system that's going to be paid with taxation as well. Especially if someone like, let's say the private police arrests somebody, and this is a poor person, and he can't afford to defend himself in court. Well, in America, you get a public defender. Under anarchy, what do you get? Nothing? So he's just kind of trying to lead him down this road, but I think it's pretty funny. Whose house is it? Whose house is it?
You have.
I mean, more than you. So.
No, I have more.
Oh, okay. You have more based on, again, it's all made up. Like,
what currency are you using?
I mean, well, we can use whatever currency we want.
Yeah, okay. I want to know if you can pay for the little plot that I'm going to rent you for your tent, dude. Now that I have my house.
I mean, again, your example doesn't make sense. Like, who actually lives in this house for 5 years? Like, who's actually using the house for 5 years? Me or you?
Well, we got to go to a court.
Court decided that Sam was.
Court found that
well, again, you're
trespassing.
And the court
you're ignoring reality because, like, in one instance it's your house, in one instance it's my house. Like, which one is it?
Mike, which one of us is ignoring reality?
I don't understand how. Like, I'm just asking a simple question in your hypothetical example. Who actually like let's say.
My point is that these type of disputes happen not even every single day, happen every minute of every day.
No, they don't. Wait. No, they don't. People come into your house every day. It's a common problem that people come into your house and say, hey, this is my house.
People have disputes over ownership of property every day.
I worked for the city. I literally worked for the city.
Yeah, earlier in this conversation, the Anarchist, because the only way their philosophy could even sort of work is if everybody is actually really nice. Like, communism could work if nobody stole, if everyone paid their taxes, if there was no greed. I mean, you could have something like that, or even anarchy. But what Sam's trying to get him to realize is that you have no guardrails and no laws. People don't tend to act good. And this guy is kind of making the argument, he made this earlier in the debate, that actually, no, if you get a bunch of people that agree to the non-aggression principle, you really won't have a lot of this stuff. And yeah, occasionally you'll have some people that steal or whatever, but it won't be that big of a deal. After all, they agree to the non-aggression principle. It's like, come on, how many times have we seen this grift? I mean, I guess this guy, trusts politicians too. A politician says that he's not corrupt. Oh, well, I mean, he agrees to non-corruption. Oh, well, that's great. He agrees to non-corruption. Just go to a stranger and hand him your wallet in the anarchist society. After all, you all agree in the non-aggression principle, right? It's not how people operate. Nobody goes around saying they're going to steal. And honestly, a lot of people probably would be surprised at themselves if all the guardrails, the military was taken down, the police were taken down, what they actually would be capable of. In a bad way, is what I mean. So, yeah, this conversation is hilarious. Keep going, Sam. I wouldn't normally be supporting Sam Seder, but against an anarchist, yeah, sure, no problem.
City. I worked for the Queensborough president, and literally half of my calls were people saying, I'm being stolen from. There's a property dispute. I'm in housing court because my property is disputed. There are easements, property lines. I literally did this job.
And look up what's happening.
That's my evidence.
Look up what's happening in the West Bank and what Israel's doing, and then talk about how.
Oh, I agree. I agree that there's disputes happening every day, but you're exaggerating like the severity and the violence. Like, these property disputes aren't like, hey, this guy showed up to my house with a gun.
Do you know why there's no violence about the severity of these property disputes? Tell me why.
I do know.
Take a guess.
I do, because most people aren't violent. Yes.
Mike, why?
Yeah, this is an indication of his naivety. The reason property disputes don't end in violence is because, people just don't want to steal from each other. It's not the reason. As Sam was going to explain, it's because if you go into someone's house and try to rob them, you get arrested and go to jail. If you go into someone's house, well, except for a place like New York City, they have some silly laws where you can Was that you have some squatter rights, but you're not supposed to be able to just go into someone's house and just claim it as yours. The reason is because the courts decide, and then you have to abide by it. And if you don't abide by it, if you go, nope, I think this is my house, even though the court decided it's not my house, they will send to the cops, arrest you, and throw you in jail. That's the reason. But this caller is just being very naive. The reason is people are nice and cuddly. Look at history. Do people tend to be nice and cuddly? Well, actually, look at even just places around the world.
Isn't there violence when people have these disputes about property? Sometimes it does get violent, and then the police come and bring them, put them apart. But there's no police. There's only private police in your world. But here's
a lot of reasons.
But the reason why we don't have violence in Maine over these property disputes that happen on a daily basis everywhere. Not like you say they happen. Like minor disputes. No,
yes.
Every day. And these minor disputes are minor is because we have a system that everyone accepts as having a monopoly of force to resolve these questions.
And Sam Seder knows what he's doing there, too, by saying monopoly of force. Do not say monopoly of force to a libertarian or anarchist. It pisses them off. They hate that term. But that is the reality. Because someone's going to have the monopoly of force, even if it's a private police force. Okay, well, the private police force could throw your dumbass in jail. Even if it's a private court system, well, the private court system is going to adjudicate against you and then throw your dumbass in jail. So, but yeah, he's definitely trying to pick at him by going monopoly of force. Ooh, do libertarians hate that term? But it's the reality. Accept it. Submit. You love the government.
I disagree. Do you think without a government, people would just run around and start shooting each other at a high rate?
I don't think in that one moment, but I think ultimately, yes, it would be survival of the most armed.
Why would you think that? Why would people run around and start? Would you do it personally, or anyone at that office, or any of your audience? I don't think anyone in your audience would say, "Hey, the government's gone. Let's go shoot people." That's not
you know what the Wild West was like? That
they shot a whole lot of people.
Here's the thing, Mike. What you're talking about is so ahistorical.
Yes.
The idea that there would.
Oh, I agree with that. 100%.
Yeah.
It's never been tried. I agree with that.
So your idea is actionable as long as you ignore the entirety of the human history and the human condition.
No, I just think it hasn't been tried yet. I agree with that. There's no example where this society has failed because it hasn't been tried yet. I agree with that.
Like, do you know what the credit rate, like Moody's or Standard & Poor's credit rating agent?
All right, I'll stop it right there because they start getting into the housing crisis of 2008 for some reason. So, okay. Well, you won against an anarchist, Sam Seder. Congratulations. They still cannot defend their ideology. One day they will, though. One day they will. I think they should just be honest and say, yeah, if you don't pay, if you don't pay for private police, then people can shoot and rob you. Or just go, yeah, there probably would be a lot of gangs. Yeah, there probably would be, cartels. There probably would be a bunch of foreign countries. I mean, imagine if America went anarchist. Well, what are foreign countries going to do? Even our quote-unquote allies like Britain and France, let alone what like China, Russia, and even Mexico might do. I mean, the cartels would be like, oh, awesome. They went anarchist. Like, there's just going to be a mad dash for the land. We have very valuable property in America. You get rid of the military, a lot of foreign countries are going to start, not invading, but, doing special military exercises. How naive. They should, I think for them to feel comfortable in their ideology, they have to go, people are good and nice. This is, like I said, it sounds similar to, it's like the right-wing version of communism. People are actually really, really nice, and they don't really want power. They just want some food on the table and just a house. So let's just go full communist, and we can all have the exact same thing. Ignoring reality.